Rumor has it that it was all about the toys. Yes, the toys. You see, there are certain rumors on the internet from quite credible sources that the people who made the new Star Trek were upset that people kept buying the old toys. They kept buying t shirts with Spock and with Captain Kirk and the next generation, and they weren't interested in the new merchandise. So, as such, they reached the conclusion that maybe people are confused because now there are two different types of Star Trek, the old and the new. And with Star Wars, they wanted to get rid of that. So Kathleen Kennedy considered that most of the fans of the original Star Wars are older people and they don't really care about purchasing Star Wars merchandise. And as such, this is the reason why she wanted to kill off the old. A theme quite spoken within the second movie that they created. And the idea was so that only new toys exist on the market. People will stop buying Luke. People will stop buying Han Solo, and instead they will buy Rey. And they will buy Kylo Ren toys. Didn't really work out, did it? But that is why Kathleen Kennedy allegedly catered to the new crowd, the social justice activists, a very toxic crowd, a crowd that has managed to separate the fandom between reasonable people and people who are, should I say, a little bit deranged. If you don't believe me that they're deranged, just go on any Star Wars forum and speak anything negatively about Rey. You will get anything from the proverbial death threats to curses upon you and your family. So that's why I don't like these people. They're not very open to communication. Their communication channels are always closed, and they fire insults at you whenever you disagree with them. I don't like that type of community. They're not nice people to hang around, and catering to these people make it very difficult to write good, compelling stories. And here you have a perfect example why you cannot write stories when your fandom is absolutely infested with social justice activists. You see, social justice activists demand for this weird thing that is called representation, as if the comic book is like the House of the Senate, as if it's a parliament, as if, you need to be represented, and as if there is a white person in that comic book, it represents me as a Romanian. It's really bizarre, representation means having someone that's elected, right? Like, what does this have to do with comic books? But anyway, right, like they just want more characters of color and women in comic books. But the problem is that once you insert, let's say, a woman in comic books, you can't just make her an interesting character, because the moment you do anything interesting with her, these people will complain. She has to be absolutely perfect. She has to excel at everything. She cannot fail. And if she dies, oh boy. So there were two major events which I can talk about so that you can understand what I'm saying. There was this comic featuring Darth Vader, and one of the caretakers for him, a woman, was obsessed, madly in love with him. And I'm talking creepy levels of obsession. She would collect his bionic implants that he would discard. She would collect pieces of his armor and have them in this room that she would worship, and she would imagine how they would have this weird romance, and in her head she viewed herself at the side of Darth Vader conquering the galaxy. She basically wanted the D, she wanted that lightsaber, not the actual one, the figurative one. And what ends up happening is when she goes confronting her love for Darth Vader, she does get the lightsaber, not the figurative one, but the real one. And at this point, the brainlets in the fandom explode and call the author misogynist. They start assaulting him on Twitter. They start sending the proverbial death threats and what have you, right? Because how dare you kill a woman in a Star Wars comic book? Goes without saying that if it was a man that fell in love to a Sith woman and he was acting all creepy-like, sniffing the chair after she got up, licking the ground after she stepped there, and eventually he goes and confesses his love towards that sexy Sith mistress, and she would have him executed, people would cheer. That would be very strong and empowering, right? And this peer pressure that happens outside and inside the company leads to bad writing. I mean, Darth Vader is an emotionally disturbed individual. We know that he killed younglings in the temple. His character would dictate that he would actually terminate a person that confesses her love for him, a person that doesn't know her place. But I guess in the social justice utopia, characters like Darth Vader have to now act outside of their element. I mean, sure, they can be evil and kill random people and younglings, but when it comes to women, he needs to show respect, and he needs to be more considerate, especially towards a woman showing her affection and love towards him, even though she's a disturbing creep. And we notice this yet again happening. This is quite recent. Apparently, in a comic book, Boba Fett kills a woman. I mean, shocking. I know. It's not like it's his character. He's the bad guy. You know, he doesn't care about human life. For him, a job is a job. And let's look at some of these weirdos reacting to this. Look at this. So tired of consuming Star Wars stories that make me feel like the main creating them hate me, hate women. Wasn't planning to start the day with a good long cry about Star Wars, but here we are again. Yeah, forgot to mention, but do not contact these people. I will repeat what I always say. These people consider criticism or disagreement to be harassment, and actually harassment, they consider it to be murder. So do not contact them. But I love it. You know, it's like, oh, you're tired of consuming Star Wars stories because you feel like the people writing them hate you. They hate the fandom, right? Gee, I wonder how that feels. I never experienced that. When you feel that the person making a movie has spite for the actual person that pays for it. I've no idea how that would feel. The more Star Wars content, and this is a check mark, the more Star Wars content they release, the more I feel like they had Rey die and come back to life in episode 9. Did Rey even die? Did she die? I don't think she died, did she? Because somebody on the committee noticed they had a female Star Wars character they'd forgotten to kill. How can you make, like it's in the name, you know, Star Wars. I mean, I know that women are supposed to be these interdimensional beings that aren't like humans. They're above humankind. They're like angels, you know, and you think they would have immortality, but they shouldn't. Because if I know that a character, man or woman, cannot face hardship, then that character cannot grow. And I cannot feel tension when they're in a combat situation because I know that no matter what, they're going to survive it. New Boba Fett comic shows him violently killing a queer woman of color. Oh, so it's like not just a female. This is from the aristocracy. She's like from a different stock. She is like a pure blood, you know, like it's a queer women. I mean, like, you know, like I was like, okay, women of color can't be killed, but it's not only that, it's a queer one. Like that is the shield of queerness. Torturing a pregnant woman. Jesus, now I want to read the comic. I mean, yeah, okay, that's fucked up. I completely get it, but like, how can you make a villain if the villain doesn't do fucked up things? How would these people even write something interesting? Like the writers aren't allowed to write anything because the moment they do, they have these people screeching. And by the way, like I'm pretty sure that these people also have connections with the editors at the comic and the people inside. We love how Star Wars has barely a handful of canonically queer characters, but they killed off a queer woman of color. Oh my god, not the queer woman of color. They killed an aristocrat. Oh my god. You know, like it's such a trope now that usually if I'm watching a movie or a TV show and I know that a character is gay, I'm like, okay, chances are he's going to make it. I mean, I don't even get invested when they're in any sort of danger because I gotta like, no, they have plot armor. Like they need to have plot armor. There's no way that they will kill him because you're going to get this, you know? You remember in the 100, do you watch the 100? You should watch the 100. It's a great show. Especially the first season. But one of the actresses there had to go and play in another TV show. She had to go and play in Fear the Walking Dead. So what ends up happening is that they have to kill her off on the 100, right? Because they need to explain why the character doesn't show up anymore. And you get this. You get this on the internet. Hashtag bury our gays and some other nonsense, you know? I'm also curious as to why Boba Fett is killing lesbians. Because Boba Fett, I guess, draws the line at lesbians. You know, when he gets a target and he is told to go on a planet to execute someone, they ask him, okay, but do they lick pussy? Like, it's very important. I need to know. Because if they do, I can't kill them. You know, like, it's not okay. No. If they're kids, you know, if they're if they're straight, if they're not of color, then they can, right? Like the Boba Fett has no problem with that, but he draws a line. Like that's his morality. The fact that they hate women cannot get any more obvious. Okay, so let me show you a cool party trick that you can pull on a social justice activist. Okay, if you have a friend that's into social justice, you should do this because it's really fun, especially at parties. So they cannot tell the difference between reality and fiction. You know, they're kind of like children. I mean, they look at a comic book and they see a doodle and they think that's a real woman. So what you can do is do a drawing, like a doodle, like this. Let me, hold on, I need the crayon for what I want to do, right? So you give, you know, a little bit of hair so that they can understand this is a little bit of gender queer, you know. And then you do the eyes. My God, I'm better than Ethan Van Sciver, you know. Ethan Van Sciver got nothing on me. Here we go, right? And they will think this is a woman. Like, if you put this on a poster, they will legitimately think that this is an actual female, and they will ask her out. It's quite beautiful. Like, they will respect her. This is Queen. They can't tell the difference between fact and fiction. But it's very important, okay? If you do this, you're a racist. You need to understand. You're a racist because I just drew a white woman, so there is no diversity here. So what you want to do is to make sure that... There we go. All right? Beautiful. Ethan Van Sciver, if you want to hire me to do comic books for you, like, you know where to find me. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section.